My name is Alanna Ofield, and this is not where I was born, but this is where I'm from. I started this project thinking that I would tell the stories of other people who moved from a village to Albuquerque. As I began driving around my hometown of Poake, my neighborhood of Martineztown, and talking to my friends and neighbors who've participated in rural to urban migration, I realized that what I was really doing was trying to tell my own story. I was asking people why they left and if they would ever come back, to find out if I really understood why I left and if deep down I wanted to go back. I don't know if I can answer those questions yet, but for the first time in many years, I felt comfortable to drive these roads. This is the street I grew up on. We lived in an old adobe that was always a little too hot or cold, depending on what time of year it was. And we could never be 100% sure that water would come out of the faucet when we turned the tap. But that never mattered to us because we had these golden hills to play in and those mountains in the distance to look at every morning. As I drove around, I noticed that there were a lot more fences up now than there were when I was young. There were fewer elders sitting on their porches in the afternoon sun. Actually, there was no one outside at all. Fields that I remember being green were dried up, and every other house has a glittering for sale sign with the name of a fancy realtor in Santa Fe. I left here because I felt in between. I was born in an indigenous community in Colombia, but I wasn't native enough for the Pueblo kids. I couldn't trace my ancestry back to the colonizers, and I didn't speak Spanish, so I couldn't kick it with the kids who called themselves Spanish. I asked too many questions and had too many dreams, or at least that's why I told myself that I left. But it was so quiet. No sirens, no sounds from a nearby freeway, no neighbors fighting in the front yard. Maybe this quiet was why I left. Maybe deep down I wanted a louder way of living. There's also that there's no jobs here, and I know too many people who fill their time with drugs and alcohol. Too many of my girlfriends from school who stay home all day with children who only see their fathers once a month during visits to the jail. I wanted more than that. I wanted to fight for more than that. I wanted to feel that there was a resistance to this new way of living and a respect for the old ways. So I found myself traveling farther and farther away from there until I found a village in the middle of the city, Martineztown. The story goes that this is the second oldest neighborhood in Albuquerque, and that the land was used by settlers in the Old Town area to graze sheep. A Protestant whose name was Martin was unhappy that his children weren't allowed to attend the Catholic school, so he moved a few miles away and started his own settlement named after him. This speaks to the resistance that people in this neighborhood have. This story was told to me by an elder who is known by all the neighborhood kids for passing out full-size candy bars on Halloween. My landlady tells me that my house would have been on the historic register if she hadn't added on to it, and that her grandfather used to graze sheep in what is now my backyard. She brings me eggs from her chickens and tells me I should eat better and work less. I sit in my landlady's kitchen chatting to her and the neighbor who passes out full-size candy bars. He tells me the people in this neighborhood have fought for many things. We wanted a community school, and we built the learning center down the street. When your baby is old enough, it will go there after school and will learn our language. And they have a garden, he tells me confidently as he ashes his cigarette in a mug that reads World's #1 Grandpa. We're fighting the big stores and hotels from coming in and taking up land here. We're fighting so that the people who have lived here for generations can stay here for many more. We want the young people to be connected to this place so they won't sell their families' homes when all us old folks are gone. There are very few for sale signs in Martinez Town. Gentrification is all around us, and people would love to turn this whole neighborhood into a trendy hipster magnet like East Downtown. When I walk down Edith, sometimes I forget where I am, and it feels like Pocket but louder. A village in the middle of a city. I will happily join the fight to keep it that way.